Hey guys,
Professor.
Frost here, and today we're going to be talking about two very popular hand cannons that used to dominate the meta for months until Bungie decided to give them a couple tweaks and changes in efforts to bring them more in line with other primaries. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to make it my goal to explain why these two weapons are still worth the grind and how they perform in the current meta. Now, I'm going to give you some advantages and benefits that Lunas has that will be shared with Not Forgotten, but some of the weaknesses and disadvantages that Lunas has will probably not be shared with Not Forgotten. So to start things off, we're going to talk about Lunas Howls and quick play, then we will transition into how it performs into the competitive playlist. This weapon in quick play will still feel fantastic. Even though it's got an RPM change, it's going to feel slower, a little bit clunkier at times. You're going to be happy that it got an indirect range buff. Now what that means basically is that normally with a 180, sometimes you will have some inconsistencies and not be able to 4-tap players whenever you don't hit your crits, but thanks to its extra damage, you're going to be able to do that a lot more consistently. Now in quick play, the reason why this weapon basically performs just as well as before, and it's still going to be a viable option, is that players tend to run around the map. They're scattered. There's more players at mid-range, close range versus players sitting at the back of the map. So that is basically the reason why this weapon will still be pretty effective. Now, unlike before, you're not going to be able to 3-tap players from super long distances. Now, whenever you had the 180 and the Magnificent Howl perk worked as, or it originally was supposed to work as, you could hit 2 headshots and then your third shot would just do insane damage and you could map somebody. So back then I said, okay, the Magnificent Howl perk should get some changes, but the way it got nerfed, I think it was a little bit too much, because Lunas felt kind of balanced in the sense that it respected its archetype. It kind of stayed in its lane when it came to range, other than just the perk making it a scout rifle. So but now we're here where the changes have occurred. So we got the differences, and that being that you cannot 3-tap players from long range, mainly because hitting 2 crits will not add up to enough damage to 3-tap a player. But once you get close enough to mid-range, close range, and all that stuff, that's where the consistency just becomes beautiful. You're going to be able to 3-tap players at ease, hit your headshot, and then a body shot, you'll be alright. So definitely something worth to keep in mind. I just wanted to bring it up for those that, we're probably looking forward to going for some longer range fights. It's really not going to be a thing in quick play, so I'm sorry about that. And it's going to be more of a less thing in comp. The reason I say that is because in comp, you tend to run into different players, and usually those players tend to play really slow. So they're going to be at the edges of the map, pretty far away with pulse rifles, long range weapons like Austringer and the Ace of Spades. And that is where the weaknesses start to show with this weapon. Because of the lack of range, you cannot really combat and get in those gunfights and feel confident that you're going to win over the enemy. That lack of range makes the bullet magnetism kind of weak. It's not going to feel as good. Your shots sometimes, will feel like they're whiffing, things like that. But obviously you can kind of just adapt and work around that by playing the shotgun ranges, sliding around corners, closing the gap between you, the enemy player. But ultimately that is going to depend on how well you perform and how well you approach the situation, rather than just trying to get in those long range gunfights. And even if you do successfully manage to play like that, there's still going to be a lot of the situations where you're put against someone that's across the map, and you either take the gunfight and try to win, or you take the loss and go out, give them another point. But besides that, this weapon can still, pretty effectively compete against other hand cannons at mid close range. It's not gonna get like extra flinch, or it's not gonna like do enough damage. It's just gonna come down to you being able to successfully be able to adapt to the whole archetype change. I know we have muscle memory and we're used to it shooting a certain way, shooting at a certain speed. We got this rhythm now. Originally, let me remind you, people did not like the 180s hand cannon at first until they got used to it. Once they did, they realized, okay, these hand cannons are insane, they're really good. And my advice would be just give it some time, get used to it, keep practicing, rebuild that muscle memory, rebuild that rhythm, and you'll be pretty good. In no time, you'll be able to feel pretty confident challenging some of the more dominant hand cannons at closer ranges. And far range, that's what we're going to talk about, where Not Forgotten pretty much excels at. Now, Not Forgotten is going to share a lot of the strengths and benefits that Lunas Howls has, but it's not really going to share the weaknesses, mainly because of all the extra range it has. Now, range is basically kind of tied to bloom, accuracy, and all that bullet magnetism stuff. I'm going to try my best to explain those things, but it's a very difficult concept to explain but I will try my best for you. So with all this range, you basically feel like your shots are more crispy, they feel like they register a lot better, and that's really one of the main things a lot of people on console will say, hey, my shots just register so well with this hand cannon, it doesn't have any bloom, all the other hand cannons feel like poop, they have all this bloom, this and that. Now that's important, right? That's why Not Forgotten will give it 1-up over Luna's House, and that's why you're going to be able to feel more confident and comfortable fighting pulse rifles and ace of spades. Even if you don't win the gunfight and you have to disengage, you will still leave knowing that you put in some damage and basically force them to back off and regen health. Now, when it comes to the bullet magnetism stuff, there was a discussion before, and people have been saying that they want Eye of the Storm on their Austrangers, mainly because this perk gives you a huge boost of accuracy whenever you're low health. And what that means is that if you have a player kind of like standing still in front of you and you aim a little bit far away from the head and you're one shot, this perk will allow you to basically still register your shots. So if you have a good eye, you've probably seen it in the past in clips, my videos, other people's videos, other streams and stuff, that this player didn't seem to hit their shot, but it's still registered. That's a real thing. That's a thing in Destiny, and I don't know where you stand on that. You could be like, wow, this game takes no skill, or like, wow, I can't believe that the game aims for you, stuff like that. End of the day, that is how it is right now, and it's something very good and important to realize and understand. So bullet magnetism, thanks to Not Forgotten having all that range, it will definitely take advantage of that perk. So if you're far range and you're trying to shoot somebody and they're flinching you, or you guys getting in a straight fight, normally with a Luna's House it would feel like kind of like you're not hitting any of them, but with Not Forgotten that would be less of a thing. So definitely keep that in mind. Definitely going to be a good thing with this hand cannon. Going from Luna's to Not Forgotten, there's going to be an obvious reload speed change and a handling difference. Now with Luna's House, you have draw mag and instantly reload pretty quickly, and that was nice and all, but with Not Forgotten, I'm gonna have to recommend backup mag and an enhanced cannon loader. Just like usual, you definitely know this already, it's going to be really important. Nothing changed there. When it comes to the handling speed, that's where you probably want to get a more of a boost to that handling speed, and you're going to notice a weakness, because normally back then with the 180s, you would go from a sniper body shot or something and then try to switch to your primary, and you would kind of know that you were not going to finish them off in one shot. So you had like this certain prediction, certain rhythm and pace and when to switch and actually go for the primary finish. But now it's like when you switch, you can actually just do one shot and they'll be dead. So it's something nice to keep in mind. I definitely do enjoy that. I find it more fun to pair with sniper rifles nowadays whenever I do decide to snipe. So other than the points I mentioned throughout this video, I still think that Not Forgotten and Luna's House are very worth the grind. They're pretty good hand cannons, and Luna's is mainly a weapon you want to grind for just to get access from Not Forgotten, especially if you're going to enter the comp playlist and you plan on challenging players from longer distances. So good hand cannons. Definitely let me know what you think and where you stand when it comes to these two weapons in the comments below. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this helped. I hope it answered some questions. I tried my best, and we'll continue to improve when it comes to these type of discussion commentary videos. But that's it, man. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day that you have, and I will talk to you later. Peace.